Hello, today is February 20th. This is the standard kubeadm office hours. We have a pretty light agenda and we'll hit attendance, so we'll just kind of get this thing rolling. Lubomir is gone today. He did have a couple of issues he wanted to discuss. Let me just share my screen here real quick. First up was this PR, fix config overwrites for RPMs. This has existed for a long time. Seems pretty trivial. I could double check this and assign this to myself. Here I am signed. I could take a look at that one later. kubeadm config precedents. I know that we had a bunch of ongoing conversations about this one.
Yes, I saw that Lubomir tried to address all the comments and pushed some change recently, but I didn't have time to review them.
Okay, I will add that also to my list for today. Fixes a bug where you can pass community and still searches the default config. Okay. Fabrizio.
Okay, so join phases. Today or yesterday, the last phase merged. Unfortunately, for the last minute change introduced a regression on master, but Lubomir already fixed this and the fix is merged. I didn't check it yet if we are back on green, but we are on. This effort is finished, and we should plan for an audit session for a final review of phases. Maybe that we do this at the end of this meeting or next week. I'm also free to plan an extra session to do this.
I think we can use office hours next week to do a walkthrough.
Okay.
That'll be fine.
Great. I will put in agenda for the next week. Next topic, upgrade on HA. So on HA, we have 3 major changes going on through this cycle. The really big one is the copy certs, and so the upload cert part is finished, and I LGTM the PR a few hours ago. There is 2 leftovers. One is to allow user to provide the certificate manually, and this was decided with Jason for allowing automation in. Okay, and the second is to add more tests for the init part. I agreed with Iago to move the test in a separate PR so we can unblock the join part. For the join part, the download cert, we are already in good shape. There is a PR from Rafael, and if you or Jason will can take a look, it will be great. So we're moving. I think that we are in a good shape for the deadline. And okay, then there are some other improvements related to HA. One is related to the upgrade. We have still 2 separate commands, one for upgrading the control plane nodes and one for upgrading the worker nodes. The idea is to make them a unique command that behave differently according to the node where we are. But this PR was taken by contributor or a member, I don't remember, which is not, we didn't implement the PR yet. I have pinged today, and we will decide if someone should take over soon. And the last bit that we are working is to make some improvement to reset related to HA. One is to clean up the cluster status when we reset a master node. And there is a PR which is there from some time now, but it is, if I remember well, the author is Marek, but he is not working on this PR. So I pinged also Marek, asking if he planned to restart this effort or someone else should jump in. And the last one is the removing the TCD member from the TCD cluster when we reset a master node. And this PR is merged. It's going to merge soon. It's something that we have to test the hell out of it, in my opinion, but let's get this merged. So, and that's all. So my perception, my feeling about the goals from this cycle is that we are in good shape for these priorities. We have still 10 days of work, so.
Yep. We are currently off track with regards to artifact publishing, but part of this is not our problem. We have to interlock with the release team so that they can actually do artifact generation that's comes from KK. And because there's no one on the other side to own this work, we need to get people spun up, at least get a proposal merged that we all agree to for 115, and then get the other pieces in place by the beginning of 115, so that way the release cycle can actually go smoothly. That work will, Merrick's current work could land or could not land. I made sure it was not on a blocking path for us. So if it doesn't merge, it's fine. The proposal is pretty clear of what we want to accomplish. So we could do that in the beginning of 115, and it will be okay. But the actual release work and getting someone on the release side to own that's going to be a challenge for me in probably the 115 cycle.
Okay. With related to another priority, I didn't add the point, but related to the improvement on the test, Lubomir managed to get the first job using kind working. So all the automation, the kube test automation is working. So probably we will be able to have also the same job that test multi-master. So this is a good news for me.
So we have that separate test suite. Like we can test the deployment and make sure it doesn't break, but the actual verification, internal verification that all the proper things are being done and make it more exhaustive, we still need to do that in the 115 plus timeframe to actually enable that separate test suite we created, so that we're verifying, the actual component bit that we update for the host is updated on the config map, as well as all the other information that we'd expect as part of an HA.
Yes, we are still lacking of and kubeadm specific end-to-end tests.
Yeah.
But the machinery is starting to take, based on kind, is starting to take form. So this is a good news.
Are you having any issues with regards to upgrade stuff? Or should we just
The upgrade stuff, quick update about kind. Ben is focused in reaching the 100 milestones. After some discussion, he opened to the idea that upgrade will be part of kind core, let me say, and but it's still not yet fully clear to me how this is going to happen. And the main open point is that we don't. There is no a clear defined way in how to add the second Kubernetes version to the cluster, because now kind can do create the cluster and create the cluster ready for upgrade. But for upgrading, I need to bring in my nodes, all the depths and the images for the target version. This is not clear. I have some holes in knowledge about what can be the easiest way for using these in CI. Because as a developer, I simply want a copy. But for CI, I don't know if this can work as well, or they want to build the new release inside some container or whatever. I have to discuss this. So the target is to get the main kind command.
Yeah, I don't think TLDR, it won't land for this cycle.
I don't think. Yes, I don't think the same. So there is a second option that I'm discussing with Lubomir, and it is related to the next point. If you want, I move to the next point. So and then we get back to the upgrade scenario. So the next point is related to Kubernetes Playground. So Kubernetes Playground was an experiment, a set of scripts that we developed and we put in the Kubernetes report, and was designed to support the developer experience. So to help people to get Kubernetes tested and to test Kubernetes PR and whatever. We decided to deprecate this set of script. It was based on Vagrant, Python, whatever. So in favor of kind, but along the way we understood that these specific use cases, so supporting Kubernetes or Silk cluster lifecycle developer in their user experience, there is a very few chance that these kind of use cases will land in the main kind in the main kind project. So what we discussed with Ben was to introduce a separated command that use kind as a library, and put on top of kind a set of additional command that helps the developer to make their daily job, to test PR, to get quickly up a multi-master cluster. That is something that in my I have many new contributors are pinging me how I can do this locally, because I don't have a cloud provider and so on and so on. So I worked on this idea to build a new command that uses kind as a library, and I managed to put quickly something that works fine. Maybe if you want later, I can also give a quick demo. And I'm sharing this with the SIG, with the team, because it can, in my opinion, can be useful. I defined a small roadmap, a set of points that, in my opinion, should be developed. Some of them are already there, and we should decide if we want to move these, find a home for this project under the SIG umbrella. So moving out from my report, basically, and moving into the kubeadm. And if there are some other use case that should be addressed, I think that we can also go in a kind of experimental way. So share this binary or this fork among the contributors which are interesting. Try to use it for testing the next release. Consolidate a little bit the idea, and then decide what to do in the next planning phase. So it's not necessary to decide today.
It seems fine to me. I think that seems totally fine. If we wanted to put a PR against, because if we're going to clean up the kubeadm repo, if we put a PR up against kubeadm repo, but make sure we highlight that, experimental, something like that. So that way, that people don't rely too heavily on it. And we can decide at a later date and people can kick the tires on it. I think that would be a highly useful thing and a highly leveraged thing. My long-term goal has always been to kill local up cluster, with extreme prejudice. So that way you could just, local developers who are actually testing KK would just have a instant local environment, that they could just run immediately in short order.
Yeah, there is only one blocker. I'm trying to get one PR merged in kind that in the core Kai library that allows me to spin up nodes without installing Kubernetes. So it's just an if. Please stop one step before the end. So then I can do whatever I do, and I don't know. We can finish now, or if you want, I can give you a really quick demo on what it looks like.
I think having the demo for the recording would be good, so other folks who see the recording can take a look at it.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so basically, Kinder is a library based on kind. What gives all the kind command, so build, create, delete, and so on, plus some specific command, which are copy and do. I will show them now. So I repeated all I created an entry for all the kind content because I find annoying to switch from one command to another. Basically, what gives you can create your cluster, and it gives you one flag which is important, that allows you to prevent the core library from installing Kubernetes, and some other flag which are, for instance, that allows you to change the topology of your cluster quickly, like the number of worker node. And this is the only difference in the create part of the cluster. Okay, then what it gives now basically what kind of they did is to create nodes which are Docker container, like kind does, but those nodes are ready for installing Kubernetes. So in the control plane node there is a config a Kubernetes config file already set up, but Kubernetes was not executed. And
this is for package testing, right?
Yes, but it is also for testing the Kubernetes workflow, because kind of execute the Kubernetes workflow for me. I don't have chance to change it. I don't have a chance to set the verbose flag. I cannot see the logs. So kind of execute the init workflow, but it hides the output from me.
It's almost like you want phases, but for kind.
Yes, but kind of, but the problem that maybe one day we will get phases there, but it's not when. The question is when. So basically now I have containers that are like two empty machines, and now I can manage, I can work on this machine using using Docker exec, because they are Docker container, like SSH. Or I can use the Kinder offers me some wrapper, topology aware wrapper on top of exec or copy. For instance, I can do kind exec on all the nodes, and then I give a command, kubeadm version. I'm checking which version is installed on all the nodes. Another things that I can do. I was testing a PR, so I have a local kubeadm binary built on my machine, and I want to copy it inside the container because I want to test this release. So I'm doing a copy my basal output to all the nodes overriding kubeadm.
Well, that particular use case, you'd almost want it to be on the initial creation, like to specify the ability to create a cluster of type food, very similar to where you do kubeadm init.
Yes, this can be. I can move this also in the init part, but how it works kind now is that you build everything into the images. And I don't want maybe I don't want to rebuild the image every time, because I'm testing. I'm in a fast test and build test, change build test, and so on. So it can be useful to do copy instead of rebuilding the image. Or it gives me some the possibility to execute some developer friendly workflow. For instance, I can execute init, kubeadm init, kubeadm init, and I can set use phases, because I want to test the kubeadm init, not calling init, but calling phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 in order. And because I want to test a new release of kubeadm, I want to test that there is no regression. And this is okay. Now it's downloading an image because something is changed. But as you see, is running phase prefied, is giving you the full output of kubeadm. So it is something that is developer friendly. And it is everything is developed using the kind as a library.
I do think
That's
I like
that's
it.
so.
I like it a lot.
Mhm.
I do think that there's no reason in the long haul why we couldn't build some of this functionality into Kind itself. I do think that some of these workflows they could be, you know, listed as experimental or listed as developer or listed as something else for power admins or whatever. But nothing you've demoed here highlights, you know, the capability exists currently within Kind. It's a question of like how you want to break it down. So if you had Kind phases, you should be able to do everything you showed as a set of phased options, you know, that you could do as part of any workflow. So that is a useful long-term thing. I think we can, you know, go ahead.
I agree with you. My first solution was to get this in kind, but I understand that when people managing kind, they are a little bit scared by conflicting too many use cases in this initial phase of the project. I accept this. What I'm proposing here is, in my opinion, something which is really experimental, and the long-term goal is to move almost everything to the other side. We have to design together with Ben, maybe, I don't know, some plugin mechanism, something that makes clear from what is the main use case, what is experimental, that gives people the necessary speed that we need for testing. For instance, I developed yesterday a new use case for testing join phases. I cannot wait 3 weeks because otherwise I will miss the deadline for the cycle.
I hear you.
So
I hear you. You don't need to justify it. I totally get it. I think when we go through a planning session for next cycle, I will open an issue now talking about phased workflow because that absolutely makes a ton of sense even for Kind itself. And I can open an issue now, and I think we can probably PR some of the details of, you know, as an experimental thing to kubeadm repository itself, right? So if we want to get kubeadm rolling and get people unblocked and testing out these ideas, as long as it's denoted in kubeadm that it's experimental and that some of these features are prone to change, I think we're fine. The I do long term want to get to the stage of exactly what you're doing is to have a turnkey multi-node HA solution for a local developer in a very seamless, clean fashion. So that way kubeadm developers can actually develop, you know, their features in this little testbed environment. And it's as close as we can get to the real world without having to stand up a bunch of infra.
Yes. Multi-node is already supported because I'm using Kind for this, and what is not supported is upgrade. I'm prototyping something for upgrade. Even I don't know what will be the target in the main Kind repo. So for init phases, for join control plane, join phases, I'm pretty sure that I can copy paste this piece of code in the other in the main Kind report as soon as there is agreement on this.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I'm totally supportive of this because folks got to get rolling. Let's just make sure that we mark and document it as experimental. Maybe even have a folder called experimental, right? Underneath when you do the PR to kubeadm to get it in there, just make the folder even say dev experimental or development or
Yes. I will do this immediately after I managed to unblock on the main kind repo the capability to create a node without installing Kubernetes. That is the only, for this small change. Now I'm forking a kind, but I want to avoid to fork a kind.
Yep. That's fine. I'm
Okay.
with it right now. Are there any other last topics or updates? I saw, Merrick, you joined. I also muted you because you were loud typing.
I was muted. Sorry. I
Do you have any
apologize.
update? Do you have any updates with regards to packaging at all?
Okay, so I updated the KEP with your updates. So I took all your comments and moved it around some. So I'm up for a meeting about that whenever. And I actually initially made the KEP as implementable. So I'm like halfway done with that as well. So because I'd like to get it moved to implementable as soon as possible, so that we can start making PRs and tickets for it.
You can make PRs right now. It doesn't matter. There's no prerequisite. This is an ask by Aaron for us to get a KEP in place. But the way we staged the idea of how to do this, it doesn't change anything. We're not, we can build this totally as a parallel bridge, and we don't actually route traffic over it until we have everything else done. So even if we miss the 114 cycle, that's completely fine. I do ideally would like to have the bits in place. I don't necessarily want to route traffic across the bridge yet, but as long as we're exercising the parallel builds and folks can take a look at it, that I think is important. And then in 115, if we need to, because we're getting kind of late in the cycle now, we have only a couple 10 days, you said, Fabrizio, of development left.
Yes. More or less the 7th of March, if I remember well.
Yeah. So we've only got 10 more days left. So the idea of getting everything switched over is slim because it's not going to have enough test cycles, right? But that doesn't mean we can't PR and get some of the pieces of the build apparatus in place. And if we hold, we hold. If we're not, we wait. Let's just get the PRs up there, and we'll just go, right?
Okay.
And we'll wait to tear down the other bridge once we hit 115 at this point.
Okay. No, excellent. I will. Let me know when you have time to go over that. I have time the rest of today.
I won't have time until 4 p.m. CST.
4 p.m.
Otherwise, we can do tomorrow in the morning.
I can make that work.
Today or tomorrow?
Either. You pick. 4 p.m. CST is 7 EST, yes?
No, it's 5 EST.
Oh, you're talking about Central Time. Sorry, I was thinking. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I can make 5 work.
Yeah. That's fine. We can just set that, and then we can walk through the package generation stuff.
Okay. And I can then also, I kind of shot for implementable first, and then I backtracked on that because I like the idea of just getting it out there, because I don't know all the pieces of implementable yet. So that shouldn't take too much. I need to check in with Andy maybe? What is his name?
It's Andy.
Andy, yes. All right, yeah. I need to check in with Andy with some of the stuff, get his thoughts on it. But
Okay, I think we're good there. Then we can meet later on today and chat about it. I've got plenty of other meeting items that I have to go to today. Are there any other group topics? Going once, twice. We actually get like 18 minutes back. 3 times. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.